Right now, Steve Leisman, as ever, has the headlines of what he is going to say, what he is saying, and what he might say.
Yeah, the Fed Governor Chris Waller says he is looking at two scenarios for tariffs, a large one and a small one, but he sees rate cuts under both scenarios. One scenario he said he was modeling or thinking about is one where these big tariffs stay and the average tariff in the U.S. remains 25%. Another one's where there's negotiations and they go down to a still high 10%. He sees tariff inflation effect mostly as temporary in both scenarios. Now let's talk about his large tariff scenario. With large tariffs, he says, I would expect the U.S. economy to slow significantly. Even talks a lot about a recession. If the tariffs threaten a recession, I would expect to favor cutting the FOMC's policy rate sooner than he otherwise had expected to. They'll reduce spending, deter business investment, and, of course, raise unemployment. When unemployment rises, he warns, quote, it often rises significantly. Inflation could hit 5% in this large tariff scenario on an annualized basis. Unemployment also could be around 5%. Recession risks, he said, though, would outweigh inflation risks. He's a little different from some of his colleagues on the FOMC, even the Fed chair on this, in his thinking that he would focus on recession risks here. Now, the smaller tariff scenario. In that scenario, the rate cuts could come on the table in the latter half of 2025, again, because he sees this tariff inflation passing through. Peak inflation would be around 3% on an annualized basis. And even in the small tariff scenario, though, it would have a negative effect on growth and employment. He supports limited monetary policy response in that scenario, but still rate cuts. New tariff policies, he said, are, quote, one of the biggest shocks to affect the U.S. economy in many decades. And Wolf, just one more thing. We had our CNBC NRF retail monitor this morning. A decent rebound from two lousy months shows the consumer not necessarily giving up spending despite that strong decline in sentiment. The big decline in sentiment happened in April. These are March numbers, 0.6 on our headline number, retails and restaurants. Takeout restaurants still 0.4. Not gangbusters, but a decent rebound while we wait to see what the longer effect of these tariffs will be on consumer spending.